Okay, students, parents, my learners, this is Ma'am Keith from TLEH department, and I am welcoming you to Caregiving 9 first quarter lessons. Okay, so in chapter 1 we will be talking about more about infection control policies and procedures. But before that, this day we will be talking more about some relevant facts and informations before proceeding to infection control policies and procedures. Okay, so let me read about our most essential learning competency. This is to provide information to the work group about the organization's infection control policies and procedure. So before we continue on with the lessons, let me test first your prior knowledge about our lesson for the day. Okay. So we will have a mini quiz wherein you have to fill in the missing letter with the help of some clues. Okay, are you ready, guys? Okay, before we start, so may I ask all students to grab some pen and paper so you can participate in our mini quiz. Okay, let's start. Let's proceed. Okay. So I have prepared all in all 5 terms for you to guess. So we have some clues and you will have to fill in the letters that are missing. Okay, first term. Also, the clue in this first term that it is the invasion and multiplication of microorganisms. Okay, here's the word. In 5 seconds, you will have the answer. Okay, time's up. Do you have an answer? Okay, let's proceed. What is the answer? It is called infection. Okay, next. Okay, second term. This is your clue. This is a person who harbors a pathogen without displaying any symptoms of disease. Okay, so let me give you the term. So you have 3 blanks to fill in. In 5 seconds, give me your answer, or you write down your answer in your paper. Okay, time is up. The answer is carrier. Okay, proceeding. Third term that we have to guess. So we have 2 words in this. You have to guess 2 words, and here is your clue. This is a body that cannot resist the new pathogen. It's disease-producing toxins. Okay, you have the keyword. It cannot resist the new pathogen. Cannot resist. Okay, you have 2 words. In 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. Okay, what's your answer? Okay, it's the susceptible host. Susceptible host. Okay. Okay, down with the second to the last term. So let's proceed with the clue. Okay, this is to become ill again with the same microorganism. So these are the blanks that you have to fill in, and in 5 seconds, jot down your answer. Your time is up. The word is reinfection. Okay, down with the last. Okay, so we have the last term. The clue is you will have to guess 2 words, and the clue is this is a type of road transmission wherein there is a direct body surface to body surface contact. This is the word that you will have to guess, and in 5 seconds, jot down your answers. And your time is up. And it is called the direct contact. Okay, how did you fare? So in case that you have a perfect score, so congratulations, but for those who did not, so you can make it up for the last part, in the last part of our lesson, because we will also have a quiz on the last part. So this is only to test your prior knowledge. So let us proceed with some definitions that you have to know in order for you to gain more understanding about infection control. Okay, first comes first, we have infection control. Okay, this refers to policies and procedures used to minimize the risk of spreading infection, especially in hospitals and on human or animal health care facilities. Okay, so according to this definition, these are the policies, or meaning the rules or the things that we do in able to minimize the risk of giving or spreading infection to another person. Okay, so next. So the next term is infection. Okay, infection is the invasion and multiplication of microorganisms. So if you will examine the definition, you will have the word invasion. So from the word, when we say invasion, it's on the negative part of a situation. It invades your body, okay? And after invading, it multiplies, causing an infection. Okay, next. So we have the word pathogen. So pathogen is the term used for microorganisms that cause diseases. Okay, so let me give you an information about microorganisms. We have 2 sets. We have types of microorganisms, and not all microorganisms are harmful. The harmful ones are called pathogens. Okay, so the pathogens are the ones that causes infections. And some microorganisms helps the body. Okay, so next term we have toxins. Okay, what is toxins? Okay, toxin is the waste product of pathogen after it eats human tissues. Okay, you heard that right. Pathogen eats human tissues, and the waste product that comes out of it is called the toxins. Toxins is released in your body. Okay, besides invading your body, it releases its waste product in your body. complicating the situation. Okay, before we go to the next term to discuss, let me give you an unimportant explanation about pathogens and microorganisms. So as we defined from the last term, pathogen is a microorganism that causes infection after it releases toxins in your body. So what am I trying to say here is we have microorganisms that helps our system. So these are good microorganisms, good bacteria. And we also have microorganisms that could harm our system or could cause infection within our system. So the normal microorganism that resides in your body is called a normal flora. Okay, that's the term, normal flora. Okay, so one example of that is the E. coli. Escherichia coli or E. coli naturally resides in our colon or colon or the intestines. Okay, so the question right now is, when does E. coli become harmful? Okay, when does E. coli become a pathogen? Okay, so a microorganism becomes harmful to the body when it leaves its normal home. So how does it leaves from its normal home and enters into another part of our system? So here is an example. Okay, E. coli naturally resides in your colon. So naturally, your feces contains E. coli. So when you wash yourself after defecating and you did not wash your hands thoroughly, some E. coli residues will remain in your hands if you do not wash it thoroughly. So your hands is a means of indirect transmission of E. coli from your feces going to the system of your stomach or the digestive system. So that is the time that E. coli will wreak havoc or harm in your body because it is not in its natural habitat. Okay, the natural habitat of the E. coli is in your colon. Okay, that is the time that E. coli becomes a pathogen or an invader of a certain place that E. coli does not belong. Okay, did you get it? Okay, let's proceed. Okay, in the chain of infection, we have the term host, or this is the place or the body where the infection develops, and we have the carrier, or the carrier. The carrier is the person who harbors a pathogen without displaying any symptoms of disease. Okay, so I think you have heard this somewhere. So you have carrier, you have heard this in a daily basis. So what is the other term for it? So carrier, another term for this is the asymptomatic. Asymptom means from the prefix a plus symptom, it negates the symptom. It means this is a person who doesn't show symptoms but carries the pathogen in his or her body. So that's why nowadays we have to consider ourselves asymptomatic, and we should always protect ourselves and protect other persons from being infected by the COVID-19 virus. Okay, so that's it. Okay, we have the chain of infection and we have the elements of the chain of infection. So let me introduce them to you. We have the infectious agent, the one that causes the disease, the reservoir or the body. We have the portal of exit. Next is the mode of transmission, or the way it is transmitted to the next person. Okay, this is the portal of entry. And lastly is the susceptible host. So this is your chain of infection. The elements, these are the elements rather in the chain of infection. So without one of the element, the infection will not take place. Or if we break the chain by doing infection control policies and procedure or infection control, the infection will not take place. So let me leave you one question before we're proceeding to discussion. Okay, question. What is the relationship of the elements in the chain of infection? What is the relationship of the elements in the chain of infection? So jot down the question, and you can try to answer it later. So please listen to the next discussion so you can answer this question later on. Okay, so we have again some definitions that you have to remember. Number one is the causative agent. So the things that we will define in this slide is all about the 6 elements in the chain of infection. Causative agent, the other term for this is infectious agent, or what we call the pathogen. So the examples of this are the cold virus, E. coli, staphylococcus. So whatever causative agent, it may be a bacteria, a virus, a fungi. Okay. We have the reservoir. So this is the place where the pathogen lives. It's either in your colon, in your skin. So like the Escherichia coli, it lives in the colon. The cold virus, it lives in your sinuses. Next is the portal of exit. So this is the means of the pathogen to live out from the host body. So example, when we sneeze, droplets come out from our nose and from our mouth, and you do not know if it contains pathogen such as the cold virus. Next, okay, we have the portal of entry from the portal of exit. Example, you have your friend beside you and you sneeze, and your friend suddenly yawns, or even without yawning, by just breathing, your friend inhales your virus. Okay, the portal of entry can be the mouth or the nose. It can be the eyes. Route of transmission, it is the manner in how the pathogen travels from the portal of exit going to another host, to the portal of entry. So later on we will discuss more about that. We have and lastly we have your susceptible host. A susceptible host is a body that cannot resist a pathogen. So this is a body that is very weak, that it can get easily sick. These are the bodies of a old person, or it could be a baby that is too weak to defend herself or himself from diseases, or it could be a body that is tired. Okay, one cause of a weak body is tiredness and fatigue, or extreme tiredness, or extreme weakness. Sorry for that. Okay, so let me present to you a video to play. So please watch.
To prevent and control infection, first we need to understand how infections spread through the chain of infection. The chain of infection is made up of 6 different links. Infection occurs when each link is present in this order. But the chain is easy to break. Each link can be broken, which prevents disease and keeps patients safe. Let's go through each link. An infectious agent is an organism having the ability to cause disease. To break this link, seek prompt treatment if you are ill and use the right cleaning solution to disinfect the pathogens you have identified. The second link is a reservoir. A reservoir is where pathogens can thrive and reproduce, like tabletops and doorknobs and people. Break this link by washing your hands, keeping a clean environment, and disinfecting surfaces. Next in the chain is the portal of exit, which is how the pathogen leaves the reservoir, such as sneezes or coughs. Break this link by wearing personal protective equipment, washing your hands, properly disposing of trash, and covering your cough or sneeze. The fourth link is the mode of transmission. This is how pathogens are carried from one place to another, even on the hands of a healthcare worker. To break this link, wash your hands, control airflow in negative pressure rooms, disinfect surfaces, handle food properly, and observe isolation precautions. Next, the chain includes the portal of entry. It's the way pathogens enter the host, like breaks in the skin. Healthcare workers break this link by practicing aseptic technique during procedures, taking proper care of wounds, washing their hands, and properly caring for catheters. The last link in the chain of infection is the susceptible host. The host is a person who cannot defend against pathogens, such as the elderly or burn patients. Healthcare workers break this link by treating the primary disease and identifying those at higher risk for infection. As a healthcare environmental services technician, you can see how your daily duties give you many chances to break the chain and keep everyone safe from illness.
Okay. So let's break the chain. So thank you for the video from YouTube, from AHA of AHD. So did you get something from the video? So I hope so. So please, hope you have jotted down some important terms. Later on, you can answer in our mini post test. Okay, so let's proceed to the routes of transmission. First is the direct contact. Okay, direct contact, from the word itself, it must have a direct body surface to body surface contact. So one common example of this is kissing. Indirect transmission is when you use a contaminated object that is used by the person who is sick or has an infection. Example, using personal things such as lipstick, comb, clothes, right? So if a person has a body odor, you can contract it by using his or her clothes, or even his or her towel. Next is droplet transmission. From the word itself, droplet. So fluid secretions from the mouth, the saliva from the mouth by coughing, sneezing. So that's why we always have to cover our mouth and wear masks to prevent droplet transmission. Airborne These are pathogens that stays in the air and can be inhaled. So this airborne transmission is mostly common in places that are not well ventilated, or mostly you can have this when you frequently go to crowded places. And last is the nosocomial transmission, which is the infection that you can acquire from going to healthcare facilities such as hospitals, health centers, birthing clinics. So remember, healthcare facilities, this is an avenue or a party of microorganisms. You can get a party of microorganisms from there. So please refrain from going to healthcare facilities if you feel weak, because you are a candidate for infection. Okay, you can contract infection. Okay, so these are some examples. Here you can see a picture of a dad kissing his child. So that is a direct contact, kissing. Next is sharing. When you share food, share personal things, that is indirect transmission. Sharing combs, sharing towels, yeah. It must have an object for it, or a contaminated object as a mean to transmit the infection. Next is droplet transmission, wherein by coughing, by sneezing, you could contract it. Airborne. These are microorganisms that stays in the air and can be inhaled. And lastly is the hospital or any healthcare facility wherein you could get nosocomial transmission if your system is weak. Okay, these are the definitions that we should remember. Asepsis, medical asepsis, this is creating an environment free of disease-causing microorganisms. So how do we do that? Okay, by simply disinfecting your hands and disinfecting the surfaces. Reinfection, this is literally from the word re, it means again. So when you are reinfected by the same microorganism. So when you contract colds and then you become well and then suddenly you contract colds again, that is called reinfection. Going to the next is about cross-infection. This is when a new microorganism invades your body by means of a visitor. So that's why nowadays in this time of pandemic, we don't encourage having visitors in our homes because of this cross-infection. Self-inoculation, when you infect yourself. How do you do that? When you don't wash your hands. Okay. Communicable disease, this is a disease that can be transmitted to another person. We have the types of infection. We have 3. When it comes from a virus, it's called viral infection. When it comes from a bacteria, it is called bacterial. And when it comes from a fungi or fungal, it's called mycosis. Okay, so before I give you the formative assessment, let me leave this information about drugs and medications. So don't self-medicate. There is medication that is meant for virus, medication that is meant for bacteria, and a medication that is meant for fungi. So when you use the wrong medication, you could harm yourself. Okay, so that is a clear reminder from your teacher, Key. And let's have your formative assessment. for your mini quiz post test. Again, this is your clue. It is the invasion and multiplication of microorganisms. Okay, in 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. Infection. Did you get it right? Okay, let's proceed. Okay, here's your clue. This is a person who harbors a pathogen without displaying any symptoms of disease. So here's your clue. Oh, this is the word. So in 5 seconds, please answer this. Okay, time's up. The answer is carrier. How are you faring? Okay, let's have the third word. You have 2 words to identify. This is a body that cannot resist the new pathogen and its disease-producing toxins. You have 2 words in 5 seconds. Okay, time is up. Okay, the word is susceptible host. Okay, let's have another term. This is to become ill again with the same microorganism. Okay, in 5 seconds. Okay, time's up. The answer is reinfection. Okay, so we have 2 words in this last term. This is a type of road transmission wherein there is direct body surface to body surface contact. Okay, in 5 seconds, jot down your answers. Just check your own paper, guys. Okay, time's up. It's direct contact. So I would like to thank give credits to AHD of AHA, which is the video clip that we have played about the elements of the chain of infection. And thank you guys for listening. This is your Ma'am Keith, and stay safe. And lastly, happy World Teachers Day to my colleagues.